Hello, everybody. Thanks once again for joining us for the NXT media call for NXT deadline this Saturday, December 9th, Bridgeport, Connecticut. Looking forward to it. Um, do not have my usual home field advantage here in Orlando. Actually got the opportunity to come up to HQ in Stamford and see the new digs. Pretty darn impressive, I have to say. Um, but still, again, we're talking about deadline this Saturday. Ticketmaster.com. Obviously, boys and girls, get your tickets. Big night, um, final premium live event of the year, not just for NXT, but for the WWE as a whole. Uh, the boys and girls from NXT are excited about this one, looking to end the year on a bang. Ilya Dragunov, Baron Corbin for the NXT Championship. We have the two men's and women's Iron Survivor matches, a huge steel cage match with Kiana James taking on Roxanne Perez, and of course the North American Championship. Dirty Dominic Mysterio defending the title against Dragon Lee with Rey Mysterio in his corner. And then the kickoff match, Axiom and Nathan Frazier, which is going to be everybody knows, a barn burner and a sprint. So anyway, obviously just excited about it, and we can get to the questions. And once again, just want to always thank you guys for doing this with us and for us and helping us out with these premium live events. So ready when you are.
Thanks, Sean. We'll now open it up to questions. We kindly ask that you limit to one question each, and we'll get through as many as we can in the time allotted. If you do have a question, please use the raise hand function within Zoom. Our first question, one moment here. James with Miami Herald. James.
Hey, thank you, Sean. Thanks, everybody. I'm just curious, really, about the women's division. And we saw in the breakout tournament, the finals, Lola Vice winning, Kalani Jordan making it to the finals. Just what are your thoughts of the women's division right now as a whole, and those two in particular? Thank you.
Well, again, I think about our women's division. What I think anybody, even with a little bit of brain function, sees in our women's division, which is it's incredibly stacked. It's just amazing to me, um, our women in NXT and just the depth of the roster that we have. You can see it in the Iron Survivor match, the women's Iron Survivor match. We have five unbelievably talented women. But they weren't in it last year. So I mean that speaks to the depth. And as you mentioned, the women's breakout tournament, we still have people like Lola Vice, we have Izzy Dame, we have Danny Palmer. So we have so many other women that are not even a part of this PLE. Kiana James, Roxanne Perez, the second women's match on this inside a steel cage. The depth of NXT's women's division, I think, is better than it's ever been. And it's only getting deeper. Uh, the the talent and just the recruiting process that the WWE and the Performance Center have right now, I think is paying huge dividends for us as a company. Obviously, I think for a long time we've always had most talented women in the world in the WWE performing on the main roster, and I think that's going to continue in the future because the NXT women's division is so incredibly stacked top to bottom. It's not even funny. So our job, strangely enough, is to sort of lose talent. And the thing is, if we do, and when we do, there are so many other women chomping at the bit, ready to raise up. And so, like I said, this premium live event here, you can see we've got five women in one match, and we still have two women in a cage match, which again I think speaks volumes to the depth of our division.
Thank you. And nice hat tip.
Thank you very much.
Our next question comes from Bill Pritchard. Bill.
Hey, Sean, how are you?
Well,
So I just wanted to ask about Wesley being pulled from the show. Just if you could provide any more details about when the decision to pull him from the show happened and what made Dragon Lee the right person to step in here for the match against Dominic?
Well, the decision with Wes, what was, pretty darn close to last minute. Wes has been struggling for quite some time. I don't I certainly didn't know the depth of it. I knew, obviously we get medical reports, but it was a decision that Wes made on his own, as he should. I mean, clearly, um, he's a young man that goes out there and just performs like few others. And he had a huge match already going into this premium live event, looking for the North American Championship. But just a day or two before, we had a long talk, and he just did not think he could make it through the match with the pain he was in. And so that was a decision, certainly, that he and our medical team made. It is the best decision for Wes, and that's the only thing in my mind that's important right now. Um, so look, all of this again was last minute. Wes, to his credit, was certainly doing everything he could do to get himself ready for this, but it just wasn't meant to be. So we made the last minute decision. I guess less than 24 hours with Dragon Lee. And I guess the reason I think, because I'll say this, I think there's obviously a story there from before with Dragon Lee, and just from a selfish standpoint for me, I was so looking forward and enjoyed having him in NXT, but I'd be lying if I didn't say I didn't have him as long as I wanted to, and so he's somebody that again I felt like would obviously be a fantastic match. He's somebody that I happen to personally enjoy and like, not just as a performer, but as a human being. And again, I know there were matchups that were still sort of on the table for me here in NXT. So I thought that if there was any possibility of those matches being able to happen, the Dragon Lee would be the best fit. So we'll find out Sunday if he can become I'm sorry, Saturday, the 9th, if he can become the North American champion. But one way or another, it's great to have him here in NXT, even if it's just for a little bit longer.
Yeah, thank you. Looking forward to the show.
Thank you very much.
Our next question comes from Brad Gilmore. Brad?
Hey, Shawn, pleasure to speak to you. My question is regarding the NXT announced team. Vic Joseph and Booker T, I think, have been an incredible duo for you all, and I think that they have enhanced the broadcast from my perspective. How do you feel that their chemistry has been, and in your estimation, how do you feel that they have added to the broadcast?
I love them both. First of all, so yeah, I'm a huge fan of Vic Joseph. I again take Vic aside. I think he is absolutely one of the best play-by-plays guys in this business, and I mean that again. Vic is absolutely fantastic at his job, and I don't know a young man that works harder at that job than Vic does. Book again, we are on a regular basis in the back again, laughing out loud with their chemistry every Tuesday night. Again, it's I still watch as a fan as we're back there doing this, and the fact that again, it may not always be the right thing, but if I enjoy it and it's making me laugh, I always feel like we're going to keep going with it. So I love their chemistry. I love what it is they put together. I think there's a good yin and yang that goes on there, because Book can be so far out to lunch sometimes, and watching and listening to Vic having to reel him back in is some of my most enjoyable times during the week. So I can't speak more highly of our announced team. But I get, if I could say, like, on a serious note, hey, I don't ever want to lose Vic, but he is absolutely the best. He's a dude that is incredibly gifted and really good at his job. You bet.
Our next question comes from Alistair McGeorge.
Hey Shawn, how's it going?
I'm good, Alistair. How you doing, man?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. We've seen some hints this week of a potential new role for Ava after she was seen going into your office, a bit of matchmaking. I just wanted your thoughts on how she's progressing? And are you kind of giving a lot of thought now to where she might fit in the show?
Yeah, well, look, I got to say, Ava has been, look, I say this, she's been spending a lot of time. She comes and sees me a lot and brings me a lot of information about these matches. And I got to tell you, I think she's done a really good job. Look, I'll say this. I think we all know the bloodline that Ava comes from, very astute in this business, to say the least. She's been incredibly helpful, assisting me with all the stuff that I have to do. So, and I'll say this, look, she is still part of the NXT roster, a big part of it, and someone that we always love and enjoy having in NXT programming. And she certainly seems to be, she's certainly helping me out a great deal. So I got to be honest with sort of her just business acumen, and I don't know, just her sort of real natural feel for this line of work. I can't tell you that, how much I appreciate the assistance, and nothing would thrill me more for her to take more off my hands in the future. But, we'll have to see how that goes.
Thank you. Okay.
Our next question comes from Ella J.
Hi, Shawn. How are you?
Well, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I wanted to ask about the recent return of Nikita Lyons. Obviously, we saw her return on this week's episode of NXT, attacking Blair Davenport. I wanted your thoughts on obviously her coming back and what she adds, and maybe what you see for her going forward in NXT.
Well, look, I think everybody saw a lot of potential in Nikita Lyons before she went down with the injury, from Blair Davenport. But look, so first of all, once again, it adds to what is already a unbelievably stacked women's division, as we talked about earlier. But I'll say this. So I think anyone with two eyes in their head can see that she's an extremely talented young lady. She does have something special. Again, as people say, that it factor, I think that's something she possesses. But one of the downsides of having a stacked women's division is there is a lot of competition. And there are a lot of ladies scratching and clawing to get to the top. And she's, it's just not going to be handed to her. She's come back certainly with an intensity and a fire. She looks ready. She looks like she's in shape. Looks like she's going after Blair Davenport, obviously. But look, I'll say this: it's our women are hungry. We've got a bunch of extremely talented women. They're not just going to bend over backwards and let Nikita Lyons walk all over them. So she's going to have to earn it. I think she's a special individual. I think she has a unique look. She's got a certain, I don't know, I guess, a quality, I think, that a lot of our fans like. She's got ability, but like I said, she's going to have to earn it, when she gets back in that ring. And we'll find out here, I'm sure, in the very near future, how that all pans out.
Thank you.
Betcha.
Our next question comes from Nick Hausman. Nick?
All right. Hi, Shawn. Thanks so much for taking the time today.
Hello, Nick.
I kind of want to follow up on the last question I had from our call.
Didn't know until the last time, but everybody like, Hausman's always going to be a CM Punk question. So,
well, it is interesting because since
crazy the stuff I learned out of this stuff, I don't think I am. I didn't know you were on his PR team. I mean, but there wasn't. We told me that.
Hey, you know what? I'll take the compliment, I guess. So my question is, obviously, you said really nice things about Punk on the last call. Now Punk has surprised everyone by coming back into the fold. Triple H, Paul Levesque, probably better than anybody else outside of his wife, probably. What was your reaction to these two being able to come together to make this happen? Did it surprise you? And I guess to put an NXT twist on it, of all the other big names coming to NXT, do you see Punk down here as well?
At least you could just do me the favor, because I was right, correct? I mean,
you were. That's why I'm asking. Yes. No,
look, to me, I always go back to we all sort of sat under the same learning tree here. Business is first. It's just that simple. So I again, for me, I don't think it was a tough decision for anybody. Look, other than the same thing that's always tough, which is working the ins and the outs and the ups and the downs and the ins and the numbers and all that kind of stuff. But as far as a business decision, I again, for me, I don't think it was that tough for anybody because it was a good business move. So look, I'm happy I'm happy that it got done. I want this company to thrive. I want it to do well. I want the people that come through the doors, whether it be NXT or come through the doors of WWE. Look, that's why we get into this stuff again, just because we love it and we want to have success. And so I don't know. And look, even from a Punk standpoint, I don't know, to me, I have always found that if you can go out on your terms, that makes the leaving when you do leave this, easy and peaceful. And that's what I want for everybody. Because again, I guess for me, the whole time I've always done this job, I've seen people struggle with walking away. So however it is you decide, that you want to make your exit, and I don't care where it is or when it is. If it's something you have peace with, that's what's most important for me. That this job and this life and everything else is hard enough. So I'm happy for everybody involved. And of course, like I said before, yeah, I would always take him. I mean, like I said, I don't know. And I guess same thing I've said before. I may not be a compliment to poor Phil, but I always felt like, again, at least from I don't know, we looked at this business a lot of times the same way, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And so anyway, I wish him luck. I wish the company luck. I'm very excited about it. Obviously the NXT universe, I'm sorry, the WWE universe is very excited about it, as they should be. I have no doubt there are big things going forward. And it's a great time to be a fan, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm having a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, it's a win-win for everybody. And to me, when it's like that, it's a no-brainer, man. I don't spend a lot of time thinking about it or even feeling like we need to explain it. Everybody enjoy this, and let's just have a good time, in the wrestling business. I think that's just the way it should go.
Cool, man. Hey, thanks so much for the time, Shawn. Best of luck this weekend.
I'm just ribbing. I didn't know. I didn't
No,
know.
it's fine. You're just, it's like Reddit come to life right here, but you're Reddit, but you're also Shawn Michaels, and so that's cool. We're fine. Don't worry about it.
Thank
Our next question comes from TK Trinidad. TK.
Hi, Shawn. TK from Women's Wrestling Talk. So just a quick question. So you guys are eventually moving on to a CW. So I just wanted to see if you had any plans or things that you're going to be making arrangements for, as far as camera angles or talent or stuff like that in preparation for that move.
Well, like that move's still a bit of ways off in 2024, but we're extremely excited about it. Again, obviously thrilled about that, that new partnership with CW here in 2024. But again, the partnership that we've had with USA has just been phenomenal. They have been absolutely fantastic and so supportive throughout the years. Certainly, I guess from my personal standpoint, from a WWE time, I did a lot of stuff that got in trouble with the USA Network, and they were always just fantastic with us. So can't thank them enough for the partnership that even NXT has had over the past several years. And look, we want to finish out strong in that partnership. But look, I'd be lying if I didn't say we were very excited about the future with CW. More of those things will come as we get closer, though. I have no doubt. I certainly plan on, getting as many big and special opportunities as we can and blowing it out in 2024 with the CW network. But we've got a ways before we get there. So going to finish strong for USA and then make a big blast when we hit CW.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Our next question comes from Nim Zazah.
Hey, Shawn. Hope you're going well.
Going well. Thank you.
Now, I just want to quickly mention, last year, Grayson Waller from Australia just won the men's Iron Survivor Challenge, and we've seen where that has gone and taken him, doing great things on SmackDown. Last year, the match was a bit of a mystery. It was an unknown. We hadn't seen it before. But now that we know what the match is like, we know what winning it can do for your career. Do you think that adds pressure to the superstars, not just the men, but also the women that are in the Iron Survivor matches this weekend, now that the bar has been set?
Well, absolutely. But I'll say this: there's already a great deal of pressure on the young men and women that come through NXT, especially when they make it to the level of being on PLEs, and then you come to a match like this, the Iron Survivor match, that as you mentioned, certainly propels guys to even more success down the line. But this match in and of itself is a tough match. It's 25 minutes, multiple falls, a lot of working pieces in this match. So I don't think that's something that a lot of times people understand, all the mental capacity that this kind of match takes on you, as well as a physical toll. So look, I think there's a lot of pressure going into premium live events as a performer anyway. Then you add a match that is difficult on top of it. Um, I'll say this. My advice would be to everybody in the match is I wouldn't worry about my future so much as I would worry about Saturday and having a great performance at Deadline on December 9th in Bridgeport, Connecticut. To me, nothing should be more important than the match that they're having this Saturday. They focus on that and do well, I'm sure they'll be fine.
Thanks, Shawn. Appreciate your time.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Our next question comes from Mike Johnson. Mike?
Hey, Shawn, how are you, sir?
Good, Mike. How you doing today?
Good. I was going to ask about the Iron Survivor, but since he did, I will ask instead about Lexis King, who's going to be tossed in the deep end of the pool this weekend with Carmelo Hayes. Thoughts on how he has progressed since coming to NXT and the opportunity you're giving him this Saturday in Connecticut?
Yeah, well, as you mentioned, toss him in the deep end. And we've been doing that from day one. Look, I'll say this. I think he's been doing a great job. It's been I think he understands he's gotten tossed in. He's been doing everything he can. He's been working well with us. He asks a lot of questions. He's a hungry kid. I think he's someone that has adapted and adjusted to the structure that we have in NXT in a real positive way. I think he is someone that was a prime and will be, I think, a prime example of what NXT can do for you, because he is someone that did need that structure. But look, he's gonna be out there with Carmelo Hayes, gonna have a hell of a dance partner to be out there with. But look, Mike, I won't lie, we're looking forward to it as much as you are. We want to see what he's got. We believe there's a lot of potential there. And again, not to say that his whole career rests on this performance by any stretch. But look, I think we all know the lineage, right? He's got a little experience, but I don't know that he's got experience quite on this level yet. And to be perfectly honest, there's only one way to find out, you know what I mean? And that's to rip the Band-Aid off. So that's what we're doing. But I'm with you. I'm looking forward to see how he does, wishing him the best. I like the young man a great deal. And he's embraced the help and the coaching that we have there in NXT. And like I said, I guess I'm happy for him, because you can, when you see him and how he came in, you can see that was someone who needed our structure, who needs what we do in NXT and at the Performance Center. And so, like I said, I don't know, it's just nice when those worlds come together. And like I said, and now we'll see, at least what a taste of it looks like on Saturday.
All right. Thanks for the time. Have a good holiday and have a good show this weekend.
Thank you, Mike. Good holiday to you too, man.
Take care.
Our next question comes from Najir Chambers.
Hey, good afternoon. My name is Najir Chambers of Big Go Media. Shawn, how you doing today?
Doing well. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. So going back to the men's Iron Survivor Challenge, recently on the bump, Trick Williams was asked about where would he like to enter between 1 and 5, and my man Trick said, listen, he wants to come in number 1. He says he wants as much time as possible. He wants to create highlights. He wants to be on the stage. You've been a big fan of Trick for a long time, and you've been in many, many, many matches. What is your reaction to his comment about wanting to be number one when typically the fifth slot could be more favorable for somebody?
Sure. Yeah. Well, look, Trick's passion and his hunger. That's what we enjoy about him, and he's a kid that's not afraid of the pressure. Whether he's ready for it or not, we will see Saturday. And no matter where he comes in, look, I don't think it's any secret. We see a great deal of potential in Trick. It's on record, obviously, how much I appreciate and enjoy him and like him, and I want him to enjoy this process. I want him to do great. He's a young man. Again, he does. He's somebody that desires that spotlight. He's not afraid of it, whether he should be or not. I mean, there are times that, Trick is not afraid to get out there and stumble right in front of your face, and he'll get right back up and give it another shot. So, look, I appreciate that about him. And I don't know. For me, it's hard to, I don't know, to not love a dude that's just not afraid to get knocked down and get back up again. And so it's going to be, it really is. It's going to be a big night for Trick, Saturday. I'm looking forward to it with him. And like I said, there's one of those things for me, it's kind of always this balance of where I've got this business job that we've got this, premium live event that we're putting on. But then there's different opportunities that we've I mean, there's one for Lexus King, there's one for Trick, there's Briggs out there, Fallon Henley, Kalani, we've got a lot of people that are stepping out into that spotlight for the first time. And I can't lie, there's the dad in me that gets a little nervous. You know what I mean? But you want them to, you want them to walk across that stage. You want them to grab that diploma and just have a great night. So that's really what I'm hoping for Trick, as well as a couple others on that show. So it's it's going to be exciting. It's going to be anxiety filled for me as well. But it's going to be a good night and a great way to end the year.
Amazing. I was just going to say, yeah, I imagine you see a little of yourself in him at times.
Yeah, no, look, he is. I just, that's all I can say is I like him a bunch. I do. He's a good kid. And again, I'm happy that he's getting this opportunity, and I really do. I want it to go well for him on Saturday night.
Thank you so much for your time.
You bet.
Our next question comes from Bernard Cola.
Hello, Shawn. It's a pleasure to talk to you. I'm from French, and a lot of fans have told me to ask you about NXT Europe. So, do you have any news on the project? And also, a few years ago, the NXT roster came to Europe for several house shows. Do you think NXT could come back soon? Thank you for your time.
You bet. Well, so look, obviously this comes up. I know all of those things are still in the works, but I think you can just take a look at what they're doing, on main roster. Certainly the WWE, huge, in Europe, obviously, internationally, just, going to Perth, going to France, going to Berlin, all of those for premium live events. So those, to me, those kinds of moves from just a WWE standpoint are always encouraging. Right now, if I'm honest, can't say that there's, I have any more insight on that other than I know that it is still a huge, drawing point for the WWE as a whole. Europe is just a hotbed for us. So when that day comes for NXT Europe, we're going to be ready to go.
Our next question comes from Matthew Aguilar.
Hi, Shawn. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Yes, sir.
Lyra Valkyria took down one of, WWE's biggest stars in Becky Lynch to become NXT Women's Champion. What did you love most about, Becky's return to NXT and how that helped set Lyra up for this next chapter?
Look, the biggest thing, the way it's her servant-like nature that she brought. Becky Lynch is a huge star. She's a WWE superstar through and through. But she came down to NXT and just made sure she wanted to lift up all of the women and NXT as a whole down there. And I think for me, the humility at which she went about doing that to me was just off the charts. And that's what I appreciated so much about her and doing it. At no time did Becky ever carry herself in any way other than a humble, just unbelievably professional, class young lady, and I thank her for that more than anything else. She did a great deal for us, and was good from a rating standpoint. Was great from just professionally to get to work with. Was great creatively for us, and then also did everything that she could to lift up our women's division, and to also continue to work with a number of the young ladies. She never once didn't have time. Whether it was getting in there physically or helping them verbally. And that's something that, again, people don't have to do that. They choose to do that. And when the way she went about doing that, again, was incredibly respectful to me.
Our next question comes from Kimmy Sokol.
Hi, Shawn.
Hello there.
Recently, we saw more people get signed throughout the NIL program. What are you looking forward to looking with these already talented athletes?
Well, look, we're going to stuff them all. No, I'm just kidding. No, look, I love it. We are taking on more people. Look, I'll just say this, that NIL program and just the recruiting process to me has just been a game changer for the WWE and certainly for NXT. These young athletes, boy, they get this stuff pretty darn quick. And so honestly, as we saw in the women's breakout tournament, what we're going to see starting very soon here, starting next Tuesday, the men's breakout tournament. And again, in the future, we've just got more and more people coming in through the pipeline of the Performance Center in NXT. So I can't speak enough to that. Honestly, looking forward to having a bigger facility someday. But the more the merrier in NXT. I got news for you. We're looking forward to the CW relationship we're gonna have next year from a television standpoint. We're gonna be locked and loaded and ready to go. And so this NIL program is just continuing to feed the machine that is NXT and the WWE. It's a lot of suitcases back there too.
Our next question comes from Russ Weekland.
Hey, Shawn, thank you so much. You mentioned earlier on Becky's impact to NXT. To expand on that, we're going to see Baron Corbin have a huge match at the show this weekend. What kind of bar is set when the main roster people come down to NXT that you definitely need to see? Because I'm sure it's different for each superstar, but how could you expand on that?
Well, to me, I think what I appreciate most about the main roster people, when they come down, look, they have, if they so choose, they have the choice to come in and, I don't know, maybe phone it in, not do it as passionately, or look at it as another day, that they have to be on the road. None of them have done that. Baron Corbin comes in like a kid. He's having so much fun in NXT. And look, that's something even Chad Gable mentioned it last week when we had him. Something that everybody mentions when they come down to NXT is how much fun they have. And again, not to again to throw a bunch of rain on the main roster, because my best friend in the whole wide world is running the main roster, but ours is so much more fun. Okay, because I'm Johnny Goodtime. He's Debbie Downer. Okay, I'm Johnny Fun. He's Debbie Downer. No, it's just they really do. It's the passion, the hunger that they come in with. I think it takes them back again to their college days. To be perfectly honest, I think that's what it is. The kind of feel, the environment that we have at NXT. And look, it doesn't always work for some people. I mean, some people come into NXT like, oh my God, there's a bunch of kids here. When's everybody going to grow up? You're like, well, like we're not. That's the whole point of being in NXT. So it is. They come down, they have fun, and I think. But to answer your question, I think a lot of times our young talent sort of expects them to maybe, I don't know, carry themselves a bit more stiff and be a bit more proper, but they actually relax and enjoy the, again, the environment that we have. And I think it makes, our talent look at that and be encouraged in the fact that, like, holy cow, 5, 10, 15, even 20 years down the road, I can still be excited about doing this job. And look, I think, in my personal opinion, that's the only way to do it. But it's one thing for me to say it, you know what I mean? And it's another thing for them now to see it walked out in front of them by the men and women that are currently doing it. Thank you, sir.
Our next question comes from Jeremy Lambert.
Hey, Shawn, thanks for doing this today.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to ask about Mackenzie Mitchell. She was released the last week, I believe, and it was the only release. But did you have any insights on Mackenzie being released and any further comments on it?
No, I don't. Look, just Mackenzie's always going to be part of the NXT family, and I mean that sincerely. But look, no, it was something that obviously took me by surprise as well. My understanding is there's just some areas where we have overlapping jobs, and there were going to be changes. There are a lot of things that go on within this company that are way above me, and so this obviously was one of them. But look, we hope that, like we always say here, I will say the door is always open here in the WWE. I think in my opinion, Mackenzie will always be part of the NXT family, and it doesn't mean that we can't revisit that relationship somewhere down the road. Good Lord willing. But obviously, it's a loss to us in NXT. But the machine, as always, has to continue to roll on, and we will obviously do that. And obviously, we will miss her greatly because everybody absolutely loves and adores Mackenzie.
Thanks, Shawn. Good luck on Saturday.
Thank you very much.
Our next question comes from Vineet from News 18.
Hi, Shawn. How are you?
Doing well.
So I'm on this call from India, so I want to know your thoughts on starting talent from India. Gururaj is still on the NXT roster. Indus Sher were there for a while. There were quite a few superstars before that, Jeet Ram, Kishan Rafta. So your thoughts on development of the current talent from India and what the future holds, trying to see how WWE is trying to tap into the huge Indian market.
Sure. Well, look, I think, as always, just within this company as a whole, expansion is always the name of the game. And so it doesn't matter if it's India, Europe, Australia, Japan. I'll just say this. I mean, we're always looking at expansion. And obviously, India is a part of that. I can't speak any specifics. I just know that from a diversity standpoint, WWE is world, is global. And so we have diversity that's, on our rosters from everywhere in the world. And that's something we will continue to have in the future. And whether it be India, like I said, or Australia, Japan, one way or another, this is the WWE, one way or another, we will get to you in good time. I can promise you that. Sir.
Our next question comes from John Pollock. John.
Hey, Shawn, I just wanted to ask you a bit. In the past, you had mentioned that a big focus of NXT was the 18 to 34-year-old demographic. And we've seen over the past year, those numbers are up about 50% from this time last year. In your creative capacity, what have you found have been some of those differences that have contributed to that growth? What works for that audience that is very hard to reach in television? And maybe conversely, what also doesn't work for that younger audience that you've tapped into over this past year?
Well, so I think my feeling is, again, a lot of it is just the movement of the show. Our show moves very fast. And I think that's something that resonates with that audience. And I'll also say, again, that it's a variety show. It's sports entertainment. We have, I think, something for everybody. That's certainly for me what I believe is resonating with that audience. It's quick moving. It's going from one scene to another. it's almost, again, almost like scrolling on your phone sometimes. Some of the segments we can have, we can go from, a Chase U, segment to a backstage promo to into the ring, to a shot that happens from the performance center, to an offsite maybe with the family, at the restaurant. So we've got a lot of different atmospheric aspects to the NXT show. And I think that's why, again, I do say, that we're the best 2-hour wrestling television show on TV today, is because we have so much variety. And that's something that, being there in Orlando and at the Performance Center allows us to that a lot of times other people don't have. So I think that's one of the things that resonates with it. Look, and we're also, we have, we have younger writers on our show. Yes, the old, Papa is obviously, the man sort of, making the final decisions, but at the same time, we're always trying to, trying to think of stuff that's, again, natural and what's going on today. Certain emotions are there regardless of age group, right? Anger, jealousy, joy, happiness, I don't know, being hurt, being any type of emotion that you have under the sun doesn't really have an age group. But I think if you can sort of find yourself tapping into all of those emotions, that's what sort of attracts that 18 to 34 audience, if you ask me, because again, I think they are a bit more focused on that aspect of television. Again, my 2 cents.
Thanks a lot for the answer.
Thank you, sir.
Our next question comes from Lewis Browning.
Hi, Shawn. Great to see you. How are you?
Great.
You mentioned at the start of the show how this is the last premium live event of the year, another year of progress for WWE and you guys as well. How do you assess the year as a whole? You mentioned it was, it's very fast moving, that sort of thing. And what would Saturday be that would be a successful show for you to end the year?
Well, I think, again, I think having a great show top to bottom. Honestly, that's what, from an NXT standpoint, even from a WWE standpoint, going into the holidays, the premium live event, we obviously we want to continue to expand storylines, continue to grow, continue to again develop all of the stories that we're doing. But we're going to be coming into the holidays here, and so I think you just want to end the year with a bang. And look, it won't be long. It'll be 2 or 3 weeks before we're saying start the year with a bang. That's the reality of this is it is a weekly live television show. You either enjoy that if you're in this line of work, or you don't. And if you don't, you shouldn't be in this line of work. So look, you're only as good as your last television show. Right now, a premium live event is what we're focused on for this Saturday at Deadline. And the men and women of NXT are ready to go. So look, I guess what I want top to bottom, a quality show that you, again, the people who watch it, the people who invest your 2 hours a week with us at NXT, want you to enjoy it. Again, I said it earlier, we all sat under the same learning tree, and the reality is we put ourselves in the seats, and I am still a wrestling fan. And so that's what I want. I want us to put on a great show that you all enjoy and that you all say like, dang, I love NXT. I love what they're doing there. I'm going to continue to support it. And sounds unbelievably cliche, but it is in fact the truth. You bet.
And our final question comes from Steve Hall. Steve?
Hello, everybody. Hey, Shawn, my baby's asleep, so no baby today. Sorry about that. I have my dog is sleeping over there. We can show my dog if you want. But though so much been happening with NXT, and recently a former NXT talent, Swerve Strickland, said that you used to sit down with him for hours and watch old indie matches of his and critique and share what he could do better in the ring today. Do you still do that with current talent today? Do you sit down for an hour and go over old tape with them and say, all right, what did you do and what can we do now with your talents?
I do. Look, I don't get as much time as I used to have when I was just in the coaching role. But no, that is something, and especially in the last 6 months, Matt Bloom and I have really tried to make sure that we I take a couple times, every other week to make sure that we get in there with talent and go over their matches. I absolutely do. Look, it is very. I can't do it to the extent that I used to, but I don't like it when, again, they don't have the feedback coming from the guy. Again, that sometimes always, Vince used to always tell us, don't go to everybody else. Ask the horse. Ask the horse's head. And so look, and there are also times it's great to have Matt right there next to me during the live show because we can make notes that we want to talk about with these talent as we're watching it live on television. But yes, I absolutely do what I can. I'm not as able to get to as many people as I can, but certainly our main characters and our sort of our top people, so to speak, and certainly our prime athletes that we see, the ones that have a lot of potential and that we're doing a lot with and that are very new to this. I absolutely do what I can to make that time because that's a part of the job again that I love. That's also an aspect of the job that I miss a lot as well. But look, and I love doing it with Isaiah. It was great back then, and I still enjoy it now. So I don't get to, to answer your question, I don't get to do it as much, but I absolutely do get to it, every other week with guys.
Well, thank you and happy holidays.
Very much. Same to y'all.
Thank you all for joining. We'll end with final comments from Shawn. Shawn?
Yeah, well, look, once again, I just want to thank everybody for doing this with us. I don't know that anything, earth-shattering ever comes out of these things. And again, I don't know if it's supposed to, but I just appreciate you guys always helping us out with these, promoting this. And when everything's said and done, that's what I want for NXT. I just want to continue to, expose our brand to the world. You guys are a big part of helping us do that. I recognize that everybody's base is a wrestling base, but there are times, I don't know, maybe sometimes we're losing some of them. We're not connecting with some of them, and you guys are our conduit to that. So thank you all for helping us out on this. And I do want to wish everybody a fantastic holiday, and we'll see you next year because I'm going to be hitting you guys up again in no time at all. So thank you all, and happy holidays.